Us.
Good to be here.
Is chain CPI a bad idea?
It is a horrendous idea. It is totally absurd because, for a start, Social Security has not contributed 1 penny to the deficit. Social Security today has a $2.7 trillion surplus, can pay out every benefit owed to every eligible American for the next 20 years. Just today, Congressman Pete DeFazio and I introduced legislation to make Social Security strong for the next 50 years by lifting the cap on taxable income starting at $250,000. You do that, it hits the top 1.5%. Social Security is strong for the next 50 years. Second of all, this so-called chain CPI, let me tell you what it would do, Ed. If you're 65 today, by the time you are 75, you're going to be losing about $650 a year. Now, if you're living on $15,000 a year, that is a lot of money. But it's not just seniors on Social Security. If you can believe it, this chain CPI will make devastating cuts for disabled veterans, the men and women who lost arms and legs in Iraq and Afghanistan, the widows of people who were killed in Iraq. It will mean significant cuts for them. Do we really want to balance the budget on the backs of disabled vets and seniors making $15,000, $20,000 a year on Social Security? I think not.
Senator, will Republicans compromise on the budget if Democrats don't offer cuts to the big three? And this really is cutting to the chase here. They say that there's no revenue, although some senators have said, well, maybe we can find some revenue somewhere, but we got to have big cuts to the big three. This is the ideological fight. Isn't this what the election was all about? And
absolutely.
So back to my question. I mean, can the Republicans compromise on a budget if they can't touch the big three?
And our job and the president's job, instead of caving in on Social Security and veterans programs and Medicare, our job is to do exactly what the American people want us to do and make an offer that the Republicans can't refuse, and that is rally the American people who overwhelmingly understand that, number one, the wealthiest people are doing phenomenally well in this country, and their effective tax rates are very low, that 1 out of 4 major profitable corporations in this country pays nothing in taxes. Bank of America a few years ago, which has 200 subsidiaries in the Cayman Islands, paid 0 in federal taxes. In fact, they got a rebate from the IRS.
Republicans have no problems with that. Republicans
have no problems with
that.
that. They don't want to ask the wealthy or large corporations to pay a nickel more in taxes. We make that case to the American people, and I think the Republicans cave.
Radio show guy asked me, what's fair? I says, how about trying to pay something? I mean, when you're paying nothing, but this is how they think. And I just believe that the president has to hear from liberals and progressives across this country. He needs to know that we are behind him. We want him to stand strong on this. And if we can't get a deal, what do, Senator? Just go to the midterms and run this thing all over again?
Look, you are dealing with a major ideological split in this country. It takes us back to the 1932 presidential election, Hoover versus Roosevelt. On this issue, Ed, we have the vast majority of the American people behind us. We control the White House. We control the Senate. It would be criminal to cave on this issue.
Criminal to cave. I agree. And I think all Democrats need to stand up and remind the president what this is all about. Having dinner with these guys, you can't trust them. And we'll talk about that in the next segment when it comes to the filibuster. Senator Bernie Sanders, great to have you with us tonight. Thank you. Democrats have a chance to take a page from Rand Paul, and I'm going to tell you all about that next. And John Boehner is crying in his Berlin.